Hello guys, my name is Mark and I'm a developer. And this video is for you to show you how you could develop TonHub extension. What is TonHub even? So I assume that if you're watching this video, you're already aware of what is Ton. So I've heard a secret from a very safe place that today half of the ecosystem of the Ton is built by a team called Ton Whales. I'm amazed by these guys. And TonHub is a wallet built by Team Ton Whales. And there's an amazing feature called extensions that allows, I can show you here in the TonHub, or we can just go straight to the TonHub documentation. There is such a thing as TonHub extensions. So this allows you to install specific application that you have into the TonHub wallet so that users of TonHub wallet could use your service immediately inside of the wallet. This is a great feature. There's a lot of use cases that we're not going to discuss during that call, but I assume you already have some ideas. So today we're going to just dig into how we can build one. And we're going to, like, basically what is a TonHub extension? It is basically a web application that is running on a specific link independently, and it is made in a way that it could be installed into the TonHub via specific mechanism that is described further. But first, we have to build some web application that we're going to have inside of the TonHub wallet. And because I prepared and I already built one to make sure that we can do it together here on the call, on the video, you could see here in the video that I have Ton price history. This is an extension. You could see that here is a list of extensions. And one of them is my extension Ton price history. Because in Ton Keeper, I love the graph that is shown of the Ton price. And that's why I decided to build one as an extension for TonHub. So here you can see that you can click like 7 months price, 7 days price, 1 month, 6 months price, and we will see change in the graph based on what we choose. But also, because the API of the TonHub allows you to interact with the wallet itself from inside of your extension that you're building into the wallet, there's a possibility to request a transaction or request a signature. So this video tutorial is not going to show you on how to request signatures, but we are going to go through whole process of how to create your own extension, how to install it on the TonHub, and how to request a transaction. So if you want me to record another video, please like the video, comment, of course. This is just my second tutorial. And important note is that I so much enjoy to explain you guys how things work here in crypto and especially in Ton, because I'm excited about Ton at the moment. I had planned to actually just switch my career path into developing only for Ton and for now only for crypto and for now only for Ton. And if you want this transition to be more easier for me, so I could make more videos for you of what I learn, there is a Ton wallet that I have. So if you have a few Tons, you can just drop them to me, and I know what to do with them, especially that I would be happy to spend more time on what you see right now. So let's go straight to the point. So just let's first finish here's how it works with request and transaction. So basically, when I click donate button, the transaction is requested. I can specify the address, message, the amount. And yeah, we're just going to develop this simple extension. Let's just jump into it. So as I said, we're going to develop a web application. And we are now on the third step of our agenda. So I chose Next.js as a primary tool to implement the web application. Why? I'm a full stack developer, and I'm mostly developing in React and in Node.js. So Next.js is kind of like a mix of those two. So basically, when you develop a React application, you would need some kind of a backend, and in this way we would have this video tutorial doubled or tripled. But if we could keep those two together, that every time we, let's say, refresh the page, there's some function that works as a backend and provides our front end part with some specific data. This would be just very perfect, especially if we just decided to create a simple extension. So Next.js, it's exactly what we need in this point. And you could go and read more about Next.js, but what you need to know is that there is a little backend function and then there is a front end that is delivered to the browser. So we're going to utilize both of them today, and you will understand why I love it so much. And then we're going to use styling of the, so we don't have to deal with a classic CSS. Utility classes is an amazing go-to way to do it. So utility classes is just, you don't write any CSS, you just write classes that are providing styling. So also we would need to get data of the tone price somewhere. And my choice fall on the FTX exchange, because on FTX exchange, you could get it for free, while on the CoinMarketCap, if you want to get historical prices, you would need to pay a good price for the plan. So we're going to use FTX API, Node.js library, that is going to, it can be used in the Next.js because it has both backend and frontend in the same file, you will see. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to make a web application, style it, implement it with API of Ton, and then we're going to deploy it to Ton. And if you go to TonHub documentation, so it's called TonHub Connect. This is the step-by-step guide on how to implement the connectors, aka extensions. And here you can find some interesting information that there's two types of connectors. So one is remote connection, when like specific app that we would develop with that, it would connect from outside of our app. And one is local connector that is used when we're actually running this as an extension. So we go with local connector, but also because we are going with Next.js and there is provided like React library for interacting with TonHub, that's what we're going to go with. So we're not going to use these steps because until now, here meta tags we're going to use as well, but we're not going to use this vanilla JS implementation, but we're going to go straight to use with React. Well, let's start then. We're heading to our folder. And first of all, we will need to create a Next.js application. We're going to use the TypeScript pre-built version. Let's see how it goes. We're going to call it TonHub history, say price history extension. Great. What's going to happen now is going to install all the needed packages. It's going to generate from the boilerplate, it's going to generate some TypeScript empty project. Maybe not so empty, but we're going to see. While it's installing, one more time, please read the description to this video because there is my Telegram channel if you have some questions. Okay, we are supposed to use different version of Node. Okay, sure. By the way, I'm assuming that you guys already have Node installed. I advise you to use the NVM to switch between versions in case you will need it. And let me just delete this one and just do it again. Call it TonHub price history extension. Great. So again, while it's installing, please read the description to this video. There's two things. One, Telegram channel. If you have any questions, there is a discuss section. So all the new tutorials are going to appear there. And if you have some questions, I'm going to do my best to answer them as much as possible. And the second thing, I'm going to probably switch my career into developing for crypto. And if you want me to record more videos, if you want me to do it faster, please support me, because I need to buy a microphone, maybe some software for editing, and there's my Ton wallet, and any kind of support you can provide, this would be amazing for me, and I could give additional value for you. So it's win-win. Okay, we're installed, and now let's go into this directory. TonHub price history extension. And we're going to do npm run dev, but how do I know that? Because here in package.json there is dev comment. What do we see here? Great. So what happened now? Next.js started a local server where we're going to see our web application running. Let's see what it looks like. Great, but this is just a boilerplate. We don't need this all. And we're going to pages, sorry, pages index, and we're going to remove everything that is not going to be used by us. And also, I'm going to remove everything here inside of the main tag, and I'm going to also remove the classic React style sheets. So, as I mentioned before, we're going to use Tailwind, and for now here, we're going to just delete the styles that are not going to be used. Great. And now we're going to install Tailwind. How do we do that? We're heading to the install Tailwind CSS with Next.js. And here we have some commands that we should use. I'm going to stop the server for now and go ahead and install the packages. Great. I'm going to now initiate the Tailwind. It's quite simple. So Tailwind basically created the config, created the post CSS config. Awesome. And now we are supposed to copy that thing into Tailwind config. Yeah, well, basically we only need to copy the content part, because this shows the Tailwind where it should be waiting for some Tailwind classes in order to transpile them into the CSS. Great. So I think that's pretty much it. No, we also have to put to import the Tailwind basic styles into globals. Great. And we can start the development process. So again, we run the server, and let's go to index page and just do some fun note, which is Mark is the best, which I believe I am. Sorry. Just kidding. So we are going here and we do, like, let's say text large and text red. So it's compiled. Let's go back to, yeah, clear. Wait a second. No, there was just some old error, I believe. So yeah, as you can see, just with the help of classes, we made this text red and big. So next step that we're gonna do is we need to understand, this is the front end part, but we also need to be aware of how to work with FTX API to get specific data that we want. So For that, we're going to Next.js server-side props. And this is as simple as that. So we just define another async function right after exporting the home. And because we're going with TypeScript, I'm going to do any for now. We don't want to dig into the types of the Next.js at the moment. But here, what we're going to do is we need to install FTX API, Node.js library, and start using it. Great. So I'm going to stop the server again, pm install. Great. I'm going to import it. This client. But also I would have to retrieve the API keys. Just remind again, we need those keys to pull the data, historical pricing data from FTX exchange. I'm not going to put it here because this way I would exploit them to the public. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a here I'm going to create one more file called env economics. And here I'm going to provide those variables. API key and private key. I'm going to set them up here and then cut off this part of the tutorial because I would have to keep them hidden. I will hint you on where you actually should get them. And private key. Great. And here I would address them as process and API key and process and private key. That's great. And the last step here would be to create a, wait, we already created a client. And after that moment, we could already access this client. Let's call it FTX client so it would be more clear. FTX client, get historical data. But how do I know that? Where's client? The command of the FTX client that is getting us the historical prices is get historical prices. And then we would need to go to documentation. We need to go to documentation of this command and get the parameters. So we would need to get the parameter market name. And for Ton, it is toncoin/USD. Then resolution. Resolution is, let's say, the window of the prices. Resolution, it is measured in seconds, and 86,400 seconds, this is 1 day. So let's just, for the beginning, to get the first data, let's get 1 day. And here we have to also specify start time and end time. How are we going to work with times? And for these reasons, we're going to use the Moment.js library. We're going to install it here. And now we're going to import moment from moment. It's supposed to be in the brackets. That's great. So we are going to specify specific time, which is called now. It will be moment. And then let's, for the beginning, go with like 7 days ago prices. 7 days ago. And I have this GitHub Copilot, so it is hinting me to subtract 7 days. So 7 days ago, so the start time will be 7 days ago. And end time would be now units. Great. This function returns a promise, so it would give us a result immediately. And also, let's just for the beginning just see how it's going to work. I'm starting the server, npm run dev. Everything looks great. We're heading to our page. And as you can see, we get data from the API. So for 7 days, we have resolution 1 day, and we have the price data about this pair for these 7 days. We are going to have 3 ranges, as you could see from the extensions that we plan to build. We need to have 7 days range, 1 month, and 6 months range. So we're going to go and create 2 more times. One month ago, subtract 1 month, 6 months ago. Great. And now the problem is here that we need to return data that we're going to get from API as a props, because then it's going to be accessed here. Basically, when we refresh the page, Next.js first performs this action on the server and then pushes all the data it could fetch into the page that we're actually going to render. So because we need to wait for one request, then for second request, and for third request, we're going to use an awesome thing called promises. So we're going to say 7 days ago data. Let's call it promise because it's going to be actual promise. So 7 days ago promise. This is new promise. Promise accepts, resolve, and reject. And what it's going to do is going to make a request. This one. It's going to get historical prices because 7 days ago, it's going to await for it. Const data. Oh no, we don't even have to await. We will just resolve. Yeah, the structure of requests. You can see here it is results. So we're going to resolve and return this 7 days ago promise, and this is just a promise now. It's not going to be resolved immediately, but let's do it this way. We will say const all data. This would be await promise all yes. Yeah, it would be something like that. So all data, and we would return props as 7 days ago, all data 0. Amazing. So we save it and refresh the page. And I'm going to go to console to see that, oh, we first need to process it. So we return it here, and here we would go with a use effect. Go with use effect. That would have to work out once on the first log, and it would console log props. You need to see that the data successfully arrived there. So we go to console. Great. So we can see that 7 days ago, we see all the data about price. Awesome. All right. So now we're going to do the same thing for 3 more promises. And these new promises will look quite similar. And I hope Copilot is going to help me. So 1 month ago promise. And here we would need to go like, yeah, historical data, Toncoin USD, 1 month ago, now unit, great. And we also have to edit here as 1 month ago promise. And here we go with 1 month ago, all data first, great. And now we go with 6 months ago promise. Resolve reject. And again, yep, we do 6 months ago Unix, great. And we also push this promise here. And we also do just like that. This way, we can make sure that all 3 requests successfully arrive in here. Great. What are we going to do next? Because we already have data inside of our React page, let's start using the graph. And as I mentioned before, we're going to use, to do so, let's go to documentation. I'm here in documentation, go to guide, getting started. I'm importing it this way. And then I copy this line chart. I'm going to make it in a way that inside of the main block, I'm going to remove this. And I'm going with divs. Div that is flex, and it's doing flex call. Great. So we have line chart, we have width, height, data, and the data is exactly the thing that we're going to pass that we get from the props. But in the same time, we would need to define which props are from where. So I'm going to take this from here, not to make it complicated. So we have to import state. Here we're defining 6 variables. Moment. Updating from React. Great. We define 6 variables. So first one is range. Second one is range values. And then start date, end date, start price, end price. As you could see, here we have a specific range, like for example, 1 month. This is the default one. And range values is the array. At the beginning, it's empty. And start date is the date when this range starts. We are going to use it here as a beginning and the end date, and beginning and the end price. These are 6 variables that we're going to use. And now we would have to provide, so by default, we would have to provide specific range. And we would have to watch for the range when the range changes. So the range can be, for us, it can be 1 month, 7 days, or 6 months. And that's why here we would have to use effect to listen for range. And when it changes and it's like 7 days, then we would have to set range values to props 7 days ago. Then start date would be the first element of 7 days ago, the start time of it. Then end date would be the last moment, the last item of 7 days ago, range values, start time. Then the start price would be from the first element, and the end price would be from the last element. And so we do for every range that we have. And as I mentioned before, we only have 3 different ranges: 7 days, 1 month, 6 months. And the default one is 1 month, of course. So we are making it this way by default. Now, so basically, when the range is going to change, we are going to get the range values, and we are going to pass range values to the line chart. And we have to say what is the param that is going to be used as the one to show on graph. So we're going to use the param close. So this is like a close price of the period. Great. And now let's see which, yeah, here we have the page, and let's see what we have now. Oh, we didn't start the server. Let's see. Fishing. Okay. I think Recharts. Oh, okay. When I was first developing it, I got a notice from line charts that we should be using a different version of line charts. Exactly. So in order to use the Recharts with Next.js, we are supposed to use this version. And for that, I'm going to do npm install. Oh, wait. npm install Recharts version 2.1.12. That's great. So now we running the code, refreshing the page. And the app is working and the graph is here. But we are going to use this graph without the dots. And for this, I'm going to copy a little bit of the code that I have pre-built before. So this is only for parameters. So we are going to do, I'm going to copy it and then explain exactly what it means. Yes, here we're going to replace it. And we add a class to have a little bit of margin from top. Also, we set the line without dots, and we set the width of the stroke and its color. This way we save, and here you can see, let's inspect to see mobile version, and you can see the line changed. Now, I would like to show you one more little hack. So what is Ton logo? I would like to go to Ton official Ton resources brand. Moment. Just go to images, Ton logo, brand assets. So I want to get this PNG file and I want to put it as a logo on top of it. So I'm it's also SVG, I believe. Exactly. White type. That's exactly what we need. We're going with SVG. And we are opening it in VS Code. And we're going to create a component out of it. For this, I have a little shortcut. I just put the code in this service, transform tools to GS6, and then I just copy it from here, and I will create a new folder called assets. Here I will create a file, ton logo TS6. I'm going to call it on logo, and I'm going to import it in the index page. On logo. Great. I would have to import it from assets ton logo. Looks awesome. Let's see on the page. Great. I would also have to specify let's just hide this. Moment. I would have to specify a Teams center. Great. And I would do margin top 10. This is all Tailwind. You can just go and read documentation on Tailwind because it's a very, very, very handful tool. So we want to have data of prices. And for this, I'm going to also use the pre-built text. So I'm copying it first, and then I'm going to explain you what exactly it does. This is going to be right after our graph. We already have set the start price, as you can remember. We're doing it here when we change the range, and the default one is monthly. So we basically create a price, then date, doing format, then again price and date. And let's see how it's going to look on the page. Great. So we have prices set up right under the left and right corner, which represent the beginning and the end. But we would also have to set up a theme. So we have set like text tone blue, and let me go to see what is the parameters that I've used for the Tailwind config. So these are specific colors, and I'm going to reuse them here as well. So Tailwind config, theme, extend, colors. So now we will also have the colors as expected. That's true. All right, so now we would have to change with buttons. We would have to change the ranges that we have. Let me use the code that I built before, and it's another block. Here we have 3 buttons: 7 days, 1 month, 6 months. I'm using flex, and I'm providing space in between of them. If you want to learn more about that, there's a ton of tutorials on YouTube on how to use flex with Tailwind. And this is really like, it's like 5 minute writing, but I want to reduce this video tutorial because it's already like almost an hour. So let me just reuse this code so you will get the final result as soon as possible. And great. Also, what we do here, like this, as soon as this is a button, we can use a on-click handler, and we are setting range to 7 days. What happens if we are changing range? If we're changing range, we set new range values. We set start date, end date, start price, end price. So basically, at this moment, we're expecting that thing to work. Like if we switch to 1 month or as default, yeah, now we switch to 7 days, and now we switch to 6 months. But it's a little bit different from the video tutorial or from the video results that we viewed before. And why is it so? Because here, for example, for 6 months, we have a lot of little scratches. Like the graph is very detailed. For 1 month, it's more smooth. And for 7 days, it's almost like just a straight line. And what is it caused by? This is this way because when I get historical data for 1 month ago, if I want to get data from 1 month ago, I want to have for the resolution is 1 day. So I specify 86,400 seconds. But if I have a like 7 days range, then I would rather specify a little smaller amount, but I would have a few more curves on it. So let's see how it works. Here we have 7 days. We specify a smaller resolution rate, so we get more values from that. And here you will see, I would have to refresh that page. Great. So we have, so for 7 days, we have a little bit of more curves. For 1 month, we have even more. And for 6 months, we still have this big amount of curves. And the best case that I would suggest would be like resolution of every 7 days. So every step would mean like 7 days. For this, we would just need to multiply this by 7. Awesome. We need to refresh that every time because of the data that are fetched from the API. See, it's much more smooth and reminds of the Tonekeeper graph much more. Well, this is the basic functionality that we wanted to have, but we also wanted to see how we start interacting with the Tone React. For that, we would go with yarn add react tone x. Let's stop the server again. Great. The React tone is installed. A moment, I would need to go back to the documentation. It is installed. And now we see that we first need to wrap the root component into the TonHub Connect provider. Great. So we are copying that import notice. In Next.js, in order to do that, we would have to go to app TS6 because this is the moment where we're actually exporting the whole app that is further built inside of pages. And now we are copying. Moment, we would need to. Yes, we would need to first create this wrapper. We need to first create this wrapper. And here is one of the hints that I have to Google myself, and is the fact that use local storage is not defined here. After a few moments of Googling, I found a good use local storage function that actually works for us in this case. And what I would do is I would go to root. I would create another folder called utils and create this hook here. It will be use local storage tsx. I believe it's going to be tsx rather than TypeScript. I might be wrong, but it doesn't make any errors. So let's now use this hook, use local storage, by importing it. Import, use local storage from there. Yes. And here is another hint that wasn't clear for me in the documentation, and I had to get my way around it. It is the state. And here it says that argument is not assignable to parameter. And in order to make it work, I had to set type because as far as I see on the remote connection persistence, it has type as a not state, but basically type is showing the state of connection. So we had to do type and then start the work. And now we have to wrap. Now, as showed in documentation, we have to wrap the component that we're exporting into TonHub Connect provider. Great. TonHub Connect provider. Oops. Okay. I had automatic close tag, so I would need to remove it. This is working. So now, since we did it, it is asking us to provide a URL. At this point, we don't have any URL yet because, as you remember, we didn't deploy yet. But let's try to first let's make the code in a way that it's supposed to work, then deploy it, get a URL, then put the URL here, and then deploy it again. So this way, TonHub Connect Provider would work well. But in order to do so, we would also need to use TonHub Connect, but maybe let's not even bother about that at the moment, because I will show you the use case on how at which moment we are actually expecting it to work. So I would say let's first deploy this. We would need to go to git ignore. Yes. We need to add end file. Great. So we do git add all. And now I'm heading to my Git, TonHub price history extension, public repo, so you can all see the code, the final code. And now I would go with git remote add origin, and now git push origin main. Great. So I pushed all my code into repository, and now I have to, yes, I have to go to the Vercel. As I mentioned before, Vercel is going to be the place where we're going to host it. So we click Start Deploying, continue with GitHub. And here, I would have to adjust my GitHub app with this new repository. Moment. I have to put the two-factor auth. Okay, now it worked. So I would have to choose which directory, TonHub price extension. It's great. And I'm saving it. So I have to click import this repository. I'm not gonna create any teams for now, because Vercel is the team who created Next.js. We could just proceed and deploy. We don't need to adjust anything in the moment. After being deployed, Vercel would provide us with a temporary. It's a temporary URL, but it's temporary because you can at some point connect your own domain with subdomain to this project that you're going to deploy now. And that's why the URL that we're going to get is going to last, but up until the moment where you actually put your domain or subdomain. So for now, we are good. And we are going to use the link that we're going to provide it now as a URL for TonHub Connect provider. And we can start typing here while waiting for the build. We're going to call it Ton Price History. That's great. Amazing. So it is deployed. It is deployed. That's great. And I go to dashboard. We see this deployment. Yes, here are the mains. And I'm surprised to see that we see this code here, but maybe that I didn't push it yet. TonHub price history extension. Yes, TonHub price history extension. But because we didn't commit, git commit, because we didn't commit, it wasn't deployed, obviously, so let's do it now. But we don't have to, we don't even have to do that at the moment, because all we needed from this deployment was the URL, and now we actually have this URL, and we're going to simply use it in here. That's exactly what we want. So we can hit back to the documentation, and it says that now we could use TonHub Connect in any child component. So I'm heading to the page that we make in here, and I'm going to first I'm going to import it here, and then I'm going to use it here, making a connect. And now this connect could be used to actually require transaction. But first, we would need to make some button that would require a transaction. For this, let me get back to my pre-built code. And moment. Exactly. So this is just, again, just a layout that we wouldn't have to go through, as this is not Tailwind or HTML tutorial. And here, as you can see, connect is exactly the TonHub connection that we initiated before. Here, you can see by type, right? So, and go connect API, request transaction. And if you will read this text, it's like I'm actually asking for a donate for the person who opened this, this extension. And there I set up like the address, my own address, I hard coded. And then I hard code the amount of 10 tons. But it can be, of course, changed. And the rest is just layout, just Tailwind and HTML. But let's see how it looks now on our moment. We have to restart the server because we stopped it before. Okay, we would have to install this open-land patterns, not mentioned by the documentation though. On the port number 2, it works as it expected. And I also kind of don't like that we're too close to the borders. Let me fix that by going to the main. Yeah, I believe it's here. Class name. We can go and put like minimum height is full screen, and then the width would be 90% with the margins, and overflow would be hidden. Exactly, that's exactly what we wanted. So we have working functionality, except the fact that we cannot check the donate button at the moment because it's going to say us that it's not running in the extension. So what we're going to do is we're stopping the server, but before we deploy it for production, we need to go into meta tags. So we would have to specify meta tags, description, theme color, application name. We would have to specify the logo, and let's see how we can do it. because I did it before, I can show you how what's the minimum of tags that we have to provide. So we have a meta tag description. Of course, I will use it with title as well. Meta tag description, theme color just white, application name, tone history, tone price history. And here we would need to provide a logo. I will explain you in a moment where exactly this logo is going to appear at. Okay, I'm going to just remove this one, and remove this one. So this is my hard-coded link to logo that you can see. It is in public folder. In Next.js, if you want to put anything to be accessible from outside, you should just put into public folder. And here I can see the image of tone that I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste it here into public. Moment. I'm going to paste this image here. And now, as I had it here, the URL, I'm going to replace this. And voila, we have meta tags ready, have description, have theme color, and we're ready to deploy. I will show you in a moment where exactly these meta tags are shown, because I'm going to record my screen as I'm going to make an installation. So we're doing git status. And let's call it end of coding tutorial. Now we git push origin main. And this is going to trigger immediate deploy on the Vercel. It's great. We check deployments again, and we see that it is building. But there is one more step that is Tone documentation is telling us, extension link generator. So we are heading to link generator. We are providing the generator with the link that we got here from the Vercel. And we also have to provide the title. I'm not going to make anything sophisticated and just copy the text from here. And click generate a link, but I'm going to click it right after my deployment is going to end, because at this moment, I'm not sure exactly at which moment is catching the metadata, whether it's happening when you actually generate the link or when you're actually installing it. But in case you made some meta and then you decided to, and then you decided to change something in it, you would have to send a specific request to kind of refresh the metadata. But I'm going to show you how it works in a moment. So we're generating a link. Exactly. So that's good that we didn't push it before, because at the moment we got the image here. So Tone Whales, they like TonHub catched the logo, catched all the metadata, as you can see here, title, description. So let's, oh, maybe title is something that I wanted to do, like, oh, anyways, we're gonna see. Let's see together where we could make mistakes as well. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to start recording my screen. I'm going to start recording my screen, and I'm going to scan the QR code. And now on the screen, you can see what, yeah, exactly. That's what happened. That I would need to make a title you will see now it's on the screen. I would need to make a title as Ton price history, generate. That's great. And now I'm going to, without even installing it in the first place, I'm going to, yeah, and let me show you what I see there. So we will have the case when we have to refresh the metadata. So as you can see, on the first time I created metadata with the wrong title, I had it shown here, and then I had to regenerate it on the same on the same place with a link. I had to put the Tom price history, and now after I did it and I scanned it again, scan it again, yes, and at this moment I have it right. I have the title right, so um, I can see you can see that I clicked install, yes, and the extension was open, and it works exactly as we expected. And now as I click on the months, it's shown properly, and when I click donate, it is working. So it's requesting transaction. All right, so I hope it wasn't way too long for you. I wanted to show you a few things. So in case you didn't work on any extensions, you could already now start creating your extension with Next.js. You could learn a little bit of React if you're completely new for that. And I believe this is a big potential for crypto community to actually to be so flexible, like when you could program those snippets. And I'm going to develop more into this particular Tone price history. So you could just, if you wanted, we could, if you have some ideas, we could even do it together and record the session and put it as a video as well. So I hope you enjoyed it. Just to remind again, please let me know if you like this. If you watched it until now, it's probably quite useful for you. So please like video, maybe subscribe to my channel because I'm going to do more videos. And would be also very nice if you could subscribe to my Telegram channel. And probably out of this all, the biggest support for me personally would be if you hit a couple times on my wallet, because this would actually help me to faster move completely to the crypto development career path from the current classic development career that I'm having at the moment. So yeah, I wish you a very good day. See you.